conquer and we're going to take some. Is that understood? Yes, sir. That's what we're going to do, sweetheart. We are going to go and get some. All right, people, on the ready line. Are you me? Yeah! Are you me? Yeah! What are you?
The September issue of EP Magazine focuses on the elderly. Read the current issue and past archived issues for free at www.epmagazine.com.
Monotony. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Dull, tedious, just plain boring. But what is this? A contender, perhaps? Something unboring by the looks of it. Jabs right at dull, an uppercut to tedium, something that keeps you on your toes, keeps your head on a swivel, a knockout punch to your old, boring workouts. Welcome to Fight Camp.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Reach Across America Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, Two Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. Two Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, two lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Marines are made for this. Made for the calling only warriors can answer. Made from an unshakable belief in our nation and a strength that comes from the determination to win together. But you'll have to earn your place among us, because you don't join the Marines. You become one.
Hello and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. My name is Travis, Marine Corps veteran and your host. Oscar Mike Radio is co-produced with Sinister One Productions. What's your podcast doing? I want to thank my sponsors, Joyce Asack of Asack Real Estate and Echo 6 Ranch Designs, and my supporters, Caisson Shaving Company, Exceptional Parent Magazine, and Fight Camp. Be your strongest combination. It's my favorite time of year, right up there with Thanksgiving. It's Veterans Day, Marine Corps birthday, and all that good stuff. And I've got double the fun tonight on a very good, and by the way, close to me, ladies and gentlemen. Usually my guests are half a world away or on the West Coast. I don't get a lot of local, guests anymore. I don't know why that is. Just up the road. I am glad to talk with Rae O'Donnell and Jeffrey Riley with VetFest and the Veterans Alliance Resource Group. If I got that wrong, correct me. Oh, Veterans Resource Alliance, excuse me. And you're having a Veterans Fest. You have this Resource Alliance. It's like more good stuff. Welcome to Oscar Mike Radio. I am just excited to learn all about what you all are doing tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate taking the time.
Absolutely. So like with, all my shows, my guests come from several different backgrounds. We all served, but everybody's service is different. Who wants to go first and tell me what you did in the military?
Ladies first, so go ahead, Rae.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to serve as an MP in the United States Army and left service after transferring over to psychological operations. So, got to travel the world a little bit and, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, Ray, did you ever use your PsyOps training in civilian life at all?
I can't tell you that.
Wow. Wow. I walked right into that one. That
You
nicely done.
did.
Nicely done.
Thank
Nicely
you.
done.
Thank you.
Jeff, what about yourself, sir?
I served in the United States Marine Corps for 5 years. I was part of the Presidential Support Program. So I was initially stationed at 8th and I in Washington, D.C., and then transferred over to the White House Communications Agency.
What's that like? Because it's you're always on point when you're in uniform, but that's like several levels above like what the typical Marine goes through. What's that like?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it made me who I am today. You take a group of 18 to 21-year-olds and you have the highest VIPs in the world under your protection. And you have to learn how to grow up real quick and make choices and responsibilities on the fly. And it's just a life-changing duty station. It was incredible.
Now, are you both from now? Veterans Resource Alliance is in New Hampshire, which is just up the road from me here in Massachusetts, and it truly is the land of the free up there. We'll get into that later. But did you both grow up and join from New Hampshire, or how'd that work?
And so I grew up traveling with my dad. He was in the military. So we come from a big military family, settled in New Hampshire, graduated high school in New Hampshire, and went into the military right from high school from New
Nice.
Hampshire. So, yep.
And yourself, Jeff?
Yeah, born and raised here in New Hampshire. I grew up in Bedford, and I joined the Marine Corps right after graduation from high school.
So you reach out to me, both of you, about veterans and the fact you both served, and the fact that you think there's a different need for veterans in this day and age, and you tell me about the Veteran Resource Alliance and VetFest. And I guess before I get into what VetFest is and all that, what caused you both to think that there was a need for a resource alliance? Because in certain circles, that's very controversial. People don't want to be an ally, even though they say they do.
Yeah. I, so I'll just apologize for my bluntness right up front, but
Don't.
if uh, if Mission 22 organizations like that were actually creating a valid impact, then their goal should be to be mission zero at the end, right? And like you said earlier, 14, 15 years of constantly hearing about 22 veterans a day commit suicide. Well, why, right? And why haven't we reduced that number? And there's a wall that veterans are hitting, and we need to identify that, and we need to break that wall down, and we need to directly help these veterans. And I think a lot of it is pulling at heartstrings. We know that is the charitable way. If you don't pull at heartstrings, you're not making those donations. But at some point, there needs to be an impact. And quite frankly, I just haven't seen it happen.
Hmm.
Do you feel
Yeah.
the same way, Ray?
I do, and we were talking about this before we went live. Great example of that is, our grandparents and their parents. During their time when they went to war, the community came together to take care of each other. When they came back from war, the community came together to take care of each other. The message wasn't the institution is full and there's no help out there. It was there is help out there. The help lies within the community. And so Jeff and I are really trying to change the narrative to say the mainstream is wrong. The mainstream of saying there's no help out there, the mainstream of sending that message to say the VA is full, mental health services are full in the mainstream, so there's nowhere to go. We want to change that. We want to say, yes, those institutions are overwhelmed. Yes, they may not be able to get you in, but here's another avenue. And not only is there another avenue, we're going to take you and we're going to give you a warm handoff, and we're not leaving you to leave a voicemail message, to send an email. We're going to be by your side every single step of the way. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I understand is people who run nonprofits, no matter what you do or how you do it, it eventually comes down to fundraising. And you're regarded in how much money you raise. And if you're not raising, I think from what I've been exposed to, you got to raise $100,000 a year to be taken seriously. So that is to say that not that you raise less, you're regarded less, but you're not going to get the level of support you need to move stuff forward if you're not raising that kind of money. So there's this real reluctance for anybody in a nonprofit to help anybody else out because they're all trying to get that dollar out of the pie. Do you all find that to be true with veteran nonprofits?
Yeah, 100%. And Ray and I have talked about this before. The problem is I think a lot of nonprofits look at it as a competition, right?
Okay.
Because we're all for the same donors, we're all competing for the same sponsors, the same donations, where collectively we could just work together and everyone uses their resources that they've collected from whatever fundraisers or donations they've received and help out more veterans. But like I said, the biggest thing is we look at it as a competition. And to go off your point there, if we're not clearing $100,000 a year in donations or more, we are at the lowest part of the totem pole.
I want to ask about another unsavory aspect of this just up front. Not that you all see this, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but just in my experience and line of work that I'm in, nonprofits are a great place to launder money to and from. Mm-hmm. And I look at some 990s and I'm like, these just don't add up. They just don't add up. Then the amount of money coming in versus the amount of money going out and where it's going doesn't add up. And do you all run across that in your travels, in New Hampshire and other places?
I think we're lucky enough to align ourselves with organizations that are stand up. I think, like anything in life, you can create something and make it something, but where it goes depends on what's in your heart. And I think we're lucky enough, particularly with like Salute the Troops Foundation, with the NAM Knights, with some of the other motorcycle organizations. These organizations we align ourselves with because they are true. They walk the line, they talk the talk, they do what's right for the veteran every single time. So I think, are lucky enough that we haven't come in contact with any unsavory
Wait a minute, hold on.
nonprofits. Yep.
Is it luck though, Ray? Because if you're aligning yourself with organizations that you know to be authentic and they're walking their talk, then that means you and Jeff and you and your team around you have made a choice, subconsciously or consciously maybe, who you're going to align, and they've got to meet certain criteria. So is it luck, or have you all really thought this out and know exactly what you're looking for?
Well, I think subconsciously, we know exactly what we're looking for. I think part of that is having a really incredible team surrounding you all the time. Our board is not a dictatorship. Our board is a free-thinking, free-speaking board made up of 90% veterans. So, and we all come from a place of integrity. So Jeff and I don't make decisions independently. I don't make a decision independently. We're always consulting each other. Sometimes we agree and we walk away from the table. Sometimes we don't agree and we walk away from the table, but it all comes down to integrity. So to answer your question, it's not luck. It's the individuals you're surrounding yourself with. Absolutely.
Okay.
Hey, but listen, so nonprofits, by law are able to keep, I think it's 30 or 33% of all allocated donations for salaries. Do I agree with that? 100% no. And for Salute the Troops, at least for our organization, it's in our bylaws right there Until the day I die or until the day I get voted out. We're 100% volunteer. We have no one on salary. We don't want the money. And I don't want to be aligned with people who don't want to do it because it's their duty to give back to the community. And I think there's a lot of people out there that have it in them to do it, but they don't necessarily know where to start or have the means to get up and going. I was just at the gas station before getting here, and Circle K, they ask you, would you like to donate $1 to the Special Olympics, or do you want to do $1 to this? And I just had this conversation 20 minutes ago. I said, really look into the organization you're donating to, because for that dollar I'm donating, 30% of it is going to the CEO's pocket where they're making $500,000-$600,000 a year. And to answer your question before, my answer is a little different than Ray's. There's organizations out there like Savers. They're similar to a Goodwill up here in New Hampshire. we have a volunteer that hand makes wooden trains every year, and we used to donate those to Toys for Tots. And suddenly one year, all those trains were found at a Savers where they're selling them now. And that money is then going to the CEO of Savers, and they're a nonprofit organization. Toys for Tots is a nonprofit organization. And again, they have such a big name. Everyone thinks they do great things, but in the end, they're not. Toys are being thrown away. They're being donated to other organizations for them to profit off of. So there are organizations that I've ran into that I 100% question their ethics behind how they run it.
So you all came together and created Veteran Resource Alliance, and you talked about, Ray, how you have these individuals, these groups, these other charities, nonprofits align with yourselves to serve the veteran. Before we continue further, what does a veteran need in New Hampshire? What's the veteran need in New Hampshire like versus, say, Florida is very different. For example, Arizona is very different. The weather, all that stuff is different things. But what makes New Hampshire unique for the problem you're trying to solve?
Sure. I think housing, number one, is a huge issue. We're weather dependent, so a lot of our veterans struggle that way. Mental health, I think across the board for our veterans. I think the care that's received at the institution, of which I will not name because I will not give it life. There's a lot of broken systems in this state. So I would say those, in my opinion, and in what I do for my personal job, that's our biggest struggle right now.
Okay. So Veteran Resource Alliance came together, and you've grown this as a body of people who care about the individuals, men and women who serve their country, regardless of when and how they did it, right? What's been the outlook going into VetFest now that you have this group together, and what you're trying to do with VetFest?
The outlook is positive, so there's just over 290 veteran-centric nonprofit organizations here in New Hampshire. And, if we're being honest, I only knew of like 10 that existed, right? So the biggest thing for us is getting these nonprofits together and communicating with one another and learning about what each organization does so we can better serve our veterans. And I don't see anyone in a political standpoint or in a higher office actually putting that effort in. Because I'll tell you what, I don't think our governor or mayor, I don't think they know about all these organizations that exist. And there's more that we could do for veterans if we just work together. We all have the funding for it. We're all receiving donations from casinos and sponsors and and corporations and stuff. But I said it from day one. It's time that nonprofits put their money where their mouth is, and let's help veterans. And instead of holding on to that money in their bank account until the very end of the year, that's creating no positive impact for veterans.
So I'm just doing a little calculation here. The 2024 census says there's 1.4 million people in New Hampshire. Out of those 1.4 million, like 80, let's just call it 88,000 are veterans. And you're telling me there's 290 nonprofits to serve veterans in New Hampshire. There's almost one nonprofit for every 300 people in New Hampshire.
That's correct.
There should be like no veterans problems with that kind of support.
Correct.
Exactly.
And so ask yourself, why is there then?
Well, thank you. I mean, Marine, we're vibing here, Jeff. That's
Yeah.
what I want to know next. What's going on with that?
Yeah. It was astounding to see that, to know there's over 290. And a lot of people argue, well, those are the legions and the auxiliaries, and it doesn't matter what they are or who they are, they're out there. And if we don't know about them, our veterans, we're veterans, we don't know about them.
Yeah,
The
because
community doesn't know about them.
So you
So
can argue, regardless that a high percentage of these organizations are American Legions and VFWs. Those are the perfect ones to make a larger impact because the veterans should be regulars at those VFWs and American Legions. So they know their community better than maybe some of these other organizations. They should be able to have a greater impact within their local communities to be helping veterans. That's my outlook.
I'm not going to pivot on VFWs and American Legions now, but let's just say half of them are American Legion and VFWs. Let's just say half of that 290. You still have an astounding number of veteran nonprofits, and there's a homeless in Manchester. There's a veterans home. There's Operation Delta Dogs I know of.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I don't know of very many others out of New Hampshire when I think New Hampshire. So what you started going down this rabbit hole as you all already have. What did you find out as you're starting to go through this and put the resource alliance together?
that there are so many nonprofits out there, again, that we don't know about. There's an organization we learned about that touched my heart a lot called Labyrinth Therapeutic Services. Combat veterans who took the BRNE program came out, mental health, boots on the ground, substance use, emergency services, veteran calls, boom, they're out the door. They're right down the road in Litchfield, New Hampshire. Never, ever, ever knew they existed. Less Leg, More Heart assists amputees and veteran amputees. Never heard of them before. These are just two out of the almost 60 that have signed up to join us that I've gotten to interact with every time they sign up and learn about their services. Fishing services, equine mental health services. It's unbelievable what's out there. And I've lived in this state and been out, like I said, my entire adult life, and I never knew these services were out there. So we gotta get them out there. We gotta get them out front because it's organizations like that are gonna help carry the weight that the institutions can't pick up.
We'll go back to the Veterans Resource Alliance here in a minute, but I want to talk about VetFest 2025. And this was you all's way to say, you know what, we're drawing a line in the sand, as I understood it. Here's where we're going to do this. Come on down with your org and become part of something greater. Now, what brought all this together? Because again, it's generally, I have my org. I'm only doing for my org, and if you want to come, it's still $20 to get in the door, but I'm not going to help you any other way. But this is different. How'd that come together?
Jeff tells the story the best. I love it when Jeff talks. So Jeff, if you wouldn't mind taking the floor.
Well, let's start at the beginning, right? So November or December, we had a veteran that committed suicide in his home with his wife and 3 kids. Okay, so there was an organization that reached out to us being Salute the Troops Foundation, and said, hey, can you help us with this? And then we had the NAM Knights of America step in and help. We had the American Legion. Before you know it, there's 3 or 4 organizations all working together. Now, the reason this veteran, one of many, committed suicide because it was right before Christmas. So the holidays were coming up. They were 3 months behind on their mortgage, 2 months behind on their car. How was he going to support his family, for Christmas and toys and all that stuff? And the pressure of it was too much. He took his own life. What happened immediately after, within days of him taking his life? There was an organization that stepped up and paid his mortgage and got it caught up. There was another organization that paid for his vehicle and got that caught up. One organization adopted his family for Thanksgiving, and another organization adopted his family for Christmas so that all the kids had toys. But out of all of this, what was the benefit, right? The father had taken his life, the husband had taken his life, and now it affected the family forever. And so I was on a call with the commander of the American Legion for 45 minutes, and I said, we can do better, right? So Easter Seals reached out to us after we had finished this project with them, replacing all the carpet and everything in the house and making sure the family was okay. And they said, thank you so much for your help. And I said, respectfully, we didn't help anyone, right? Because this veteran is gone. And all it was, if this veteran would have known who to reach out to for help, or, we broke down those barriers, the stigma behind asking for help, this guy would still be here. And so we saw the impact that 4 organizations working together could make, right? And it was in a matter of weeks that all this support came into play. And that's kind of how the idea of VetFest came around. If we can get all the veteran nonprofit organizations together under one roof and all work together, eventually we want to do a VetFest summit where the leadership of all these organizations come together and talk. Hey, what did we miss this year, right? Who did we lose because of our failures? And what were the good things that we did accomplish this year? How can we help each other more? What more can we do? And that's what we should be asking ourselves every year. What did we miss and what more can we do to help these people? We'll quickly get that number down to 0 if we all work together.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk about VetFest, but isn't that your real goal, to get to 0 and stay at 0?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We always say, it's a festival. It's a resource for our veterans, but it's also a resource for all of these resource partners coming together. We're hoping that they can learn from each other and network together so that when a veteran needs something, I need a washing machine. Well, my organization doesn't do washing machines, but let me reach out to Jeff's organization that can do a washing machine. Something as simple as that. We always talk about veteran suicide. It's always at the forefront. We all know somebody who's taken their life, and that's got to stop. But more than that is we have to uplift and support those who decided not to make that decision and that are trying to navigate life beyond that decision. So it's a multifaceted issue, and we got to fix it.
So VetFest is going to happen in November. Give me the details around that. Like, do you have people already signed up to come? What can someone coming in expect? How's the response been? This is really, to me, the meat of the story here.
Sure. So we always go back, I'll bring it back to you to tell you this. When we first started talking about VetFest, we were in a Mexican restaurant and there was 4 of us sitting there trying to figure out if this small idea that we had, and I love telling it this way, if this small idea for change that we had, if anybody would even be interested in it. Less than 4 months later, we had 40 organizations signed up. We're 3 months a little less than 3 months out from the event, and we've got almost 60 resource partners signed up. We've got, organizations like 603 Super Mini who want to bring their Super Minis. We've got Adaptive Driving Services who want to bring their car. We've got a whole kid zone. We have a veteran barber in his shop coming to do free haircuts for veterans. We've got food trucks lined up. We've got the Jason R. Flood Memorial, their pizza stock, coming to bring the kids who play in the bands to have live music. So this small idea for change has turned into this huge spark where people are realizing that we need to get back to those grassroots. So we've got over 2,000 people interested in coming. in accordance to our event numbers. We've got, over 500 people who say they're going. Even if you do 2 people times just 60 resource partners, times the Kid Zone, times the Touch-a-Truck, the National Guard. I mean, this thing is the biggest thing this state has ever seen.
Yeah, because, you know, don't take this the wrong way. When I think of veterans advocacy, candidly, New Hampshire doesn't come to mind first. It's generally, Texas. It's generally, you know, Tennessee, Florida, those kinds of states. Massachusetts likes to, brag about what we do down here, and that's hit or miss sometimes, but that's a different story. But New Hampshire's not really in the top 10, so to speak. So this is truly like a big step forward. What's your thought going into this? When I say that is, you do all this, you have the people come. What's the outcome that says, you know what, this is a success?
One of the goals we had, right, which will help show if this was successful or not, is we wanted to create a platform that can be used as a general format for other states to use, right? So ideally, we would love to see down the road the Veterans Resource Alliance of Massachusetts, the Veterans Resource Alliance of Maine, Florida. We want people to use this idea and do the same thing in their states. Because if all the nonprofits work together, we're going to have a greater impact. We don't always need to rely on the government to help our own people.
So wait a minute, just, Marine math here. Let me see if I can follow along, Jeff. So I'm in, Oklahoma, and, I've got this adaptive driving need for, a sailor who got in a car wreck. I could, go on my little database, do a search, and there's a place in New Hampshire that might be able to help me out.
Yeah, 100%. We want here, but my point is we want other states to use this same format that we're using, where they can get all of Oklahoma's nonprofits together so that the Oklahomians know what resources they have at their fingertips that they're not utilizing.
Okay, so I went a little ahead of that. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You're just much smarter than I am. But that's kind of the idea. That's what we want to do.
But think about it. I have a black dead heart, Jeff, but I'm thinking about it like, what if you had 50 entities like yours? The time to solve problems would go down because you're not having to navigate the bureaucratic hoops you got to jump through for sometimes.
It sounds like if we had 50 of these veteran resource alliances, then the VA would be able to focus more on healthcare and not have to worry about all the other stuff that they have to do. True.
Yep.
So when is VetFest and where?
Yeah, November 7th, 8th, and 9th. So it's a 3-day weekend. And I must give credit where credit is due. So I have a very good relationship with Anheuser-Busch here in Merrimack, New Hampshire. And this doing a Veterans Day event was actually an idea of hers. Carla Reardon, she's the one that manages the event portion of it. And when I brought this to her, it was actually her idea to do a festival. And that's kind of how the VetFest part of it came to be. And she's kind of on the same page as me. If we're going to do something, we're going to go all out and we're going to go big. So November 7th, which is a Friday night, is going to be a informal meet and greet. Anheuser-Busch is going to donate back $1 per beer that's served. It's going to be live music and people can just connect, have a good time. And that night is sponsored by Milestone Mortgage. And then Saturday is going to be the key to connection, right? Where every vendor that there is going to be a nonprofit organization. And we really put a focus on making this family friendly. So veterans are more apt to come if they can bring their kids, because we all know veterans have egos and we know that no one thinks that they need help and they don't want to ask for help. So if we can really make it a welcoming place for all, and the kids can interact with their kids and the veterans themselves can talk to these resources, it could change lives. And there's just going to be so many resources and things available there. And then Sunday is going to be the gala. And that's how we'll close out the weekend, cap it with a couple keynote speakers and just have a great time. and the next day, November 10th, we'll celebrate the Marine Corps.
250 years, baby.
250 years. November 11th, we'll celebrate Veterans Day. November 12th, we'll start planning for VetFest 2.
Yep.
Nice. Definitely hope to get up there, and not hope. Hope's not a course of action. So let's rephrase that. I'm going to get up there and check all this out. Very happy to see this come to fruition. You've all worked hard on this. Fast forward, in a perfect world, we have 50 of these entities helping each other out, and the VA is able to really scale back and focus. And I'm curious what you think about this, because everything I read says, look, the Vietnam era veterans are passing on at a faster rate than the World War II veterans did. There's going to come a point where there's not that many veterans in this country anymore, and I'm kind of curious what happens then. I don't have my crystal ball really focused, but I am wondering how that's going to look.
Hopefully, if 50 of us, not even hopefully, when 50 of us like us come together all across the country, then it'll be stories about how it used to be and how it is now, that there is no more Mission 22s. There is no more trying to end veteran suicide. There is no more homelessness. There is no more people struggling trying to find mental health access. There's no more taking your life is going to benefit you or benefit your family. It is going to be that you're going to turn here, you're going to turn there, and you're going to turn there. And they're going to use the stories of the struggles that we all went through to get to the point where they are now. That's the goal.
Well, you keep saying, back in the community, Rae, and I've talked to more than a couple World War II veterans who told me with a straight face that they got off the train, plane, went to their house. Saturday night they had family dinner. Sunday went to church, and Monday, mom, dad, uncle told them, "Hey, go here for work. You have a job." That was just the way it was done back then. I'm sure not every veteran had that, but if you served our country during that time, you didn't have to worry about it. You had work and a place to stay. And I agree with you. I would like to see us get back to how we used to do things.
Yeah, absolutely. We only have each other. Our system has failed. It's continuing to fail. And if we don't do this now, then when? And if it's not us, then who is it?
Then who?
Yeah.
Well, live free or die. I'm going to close it out with this, Rae. I'm looking at Jeffrey right now, and if that is the embodiment to me of the New Hampshire man, rugged, statuesque.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever approached you, Jeff, about being the new man on the mountain?
No, but we need one.
Well, I'm saying if you turn right or left in your profile, yes, Rae, do you see it?
I see it.
Do you see it? You can't unsee it once you've seen it. You are it, dude. Rae, we got to work that into you all's media kit outreach somehow.
This has gone beyond a level. What I'm going to do with this is going to be monumental. Wait till the board hears this.
I'm just telling you.
Can't wait.
I'm telling you, and I'm being for real, because people don't know a lot about New Hampshire, unfortunately. And I love riding my motorcycle through there, going up to Conway. Got scared riding down Mount Washington on my motorcycle, but I've always, if I could handle the cold better, it'd be a nice home. Although I'm thinking about it, but I hope to come up there. And I'm coming up there, by the way. Whether you have me or not, I'm coming up there, right? But my hope is that I get this infusion of energy from seeing people, and I love the family aspect, Jeff. I mean, just to close this out, so many groups don't get the vets. If they can't bring their kids or their wives, they're not going to show up.
Right.
And you all have gotten that, and that is huge right off the bat. Do you have kids, Jeff?
I do. I have. She'll be 2 in October. But if we can't, so at one of our meetings, we were talking about helping veterans. I know we're going to close this out, but we were going courses for example, the caretaker program that the VA offers. And one of the people that joined us as a guest at one of this meeting was taking care of her grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, or Korea, one of the two. Completely different wars, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. And she had no idea that the caretaker program was even a thing, right? And so this isn't only just for veterans to learn the resources, it's also for the family members that can learn about what resources are available to not only their spouse who might be a veteran, but also to them as the family.
I mean, she's taken her grandfather to the VA and no one told her that, hey, you know, we got this program that kind of helps you offset some of the, no one told her.
No.
We're working with an 83-year-old veteran right now. It's been an ongoing project and absolutely zero involvement from the VA. Not enrolled in anything with the VA, receiving no care, no support, nothing. There are a lot of people out there that they're not getting anything from the VA.
Well,
Yep.
so let me ask you this, because this is something I've dealt with. I've sat there with my town's veteran service officer from the town of Abington in front of a Korean War and Vietnam era veterans, you know, multiple times. Well, you know, I didn't get wounded in combat, so I don't rate those benefits. I'm not going to go get help.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it doesn't matter. Or if I take those benefits, then somebody else won't get those. And how do you work with that, Jeff?
Yeah, that's the biggest one we hear. I actually have a customer on Monday that I see every single week. He's a great advocate for veterans. He was a Marine. Both his sons are Marine. He was the first person to tell his boys when they got out of the Marine Corps to go enroll in the VA. And to this day, he himself has yet to do it. So Paul, I'm calling you out there. But again, it's that mentality where if I enroll in the VA and start receiving a disability stipend, that's going to take money away from other veterans. And that's not how it works. And it's a misconception. But that is also a failure on the military. If someone goes to sick hall or goes to see medical while they're in the military, they're ridiculed for it afterwards.
Yeah, we are.
So we have created this problem ourselves, and that starts with active duty service and the military branches.
Absolutely, 100%. You know, I got out, and I'm sure like you did, no one told. It was just not talked about.
Yeah. Oh, your disability there that you have that you're complaining about, it's not service connected because you never went to medical and had it looked at. Well, it's because if I did go to medical, I never would have heard the end of it. And I probably would have been hazed for hours and hours and weeks at a time. So that's why I never said anything while in service, right? And that's what happens all the time. And I see it to this day.
Yeah. Well, Rae and Jeff, just thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and really like opening the doors on a whole new way to do things that's just not done a whole lot. And, you know, it's kind of fitting that in some regards, New Hampshire's leading the way like they did so many years ago. So I just appreciate your time. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'll have the links to everything about this conversation in the Oscar Radio show post. You can get a hold of Rae and Jeff, get the 411 on what's going on, get the intel, get the comms going. And I don't know, Rae, maybe we'll do some kind of like special drawing where, you know, we vote for Jeff to be like the new man in the mountain.
I say it's the new campaign. I say social media is going up right after this.
We'll work on that. We'll work on that. But,
Perfect.
Well, thank you again, everybody. Thank you for watching. As we say in Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission in flight. We'll see you next time.
The biggest fear Gold Star families have that their child will be forgotten.
We need to never forget freedom wasn't free.
It's the fact that they give us the life we have now. We should remember them and give thanks to them.
If I can be a part of something today that's going to make the surviving family of any of these veterans, these heroes, feel better tomorrow, then it's worth it.
That one wreath symbolizes one family that was able to smile because of the generous donations.
To sponsor a wreath and honor a veteran, visit wreathsacrossamerica.org.
Thank you for listening and watching Oscar Mike Radio, where our active duty service members and veterans are in action and the mission is in flight. Oscar Mike Radio is an oversized load co-Sinister One production. If you are a veteran or know a veteran who needs help, please dial 988. press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line.